Shalom, shalom. I want to give honor and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. This is another quick call from Ahmathya. Okay, let's talk about the tithes, all right? Because the churches, right, they say you're supposed to pay tithes with money, right? But you pay tithes to the Levites, okay? All right, so that's crop, all right, and the seed, not money, right? Okay, so, and who are the Levites today? The Haitians, okay? We're supposed to be paying tithes to them. Okay, so we don't supposed to be paying no money in no churches. Okay, so we're gonna go through the precept and break it down and see what we got. That's who we're supposed to be paying tithes to. Okay, all right. Let's go to Hebrews 7 and 5. All right, because then the Levites get receive the tithes from Abraham. Let's go to it. Hebrews 7 and 5. And verily, they that are of the sons of Levi who received the office of the priesthood have a commandment to take tithes of the people according to the law, that is of their brethren, though they come out of the loins of Abraham. Verse 6. But he whose descent is not counted from them received the tithes of Abraham, and blessed him that had the promises, meaning the priesthood, right? All right, so the Levites received tithes from Abraham. All right, okay, let's go to Deuteronomy. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy 10 and 9, because the Levites didn't have no heritage with his brothers, the 11 tribes, okay? 11 tribes of Israel, all right? So the Most High is their inheritance, okay? Let's go to it. It's Deuteronomy 10 and verse 9. Wherefore Levi had no part, no inheritance with his brethren. The Lord is his inheritance, according as the Lord thy God promised him. Right, so if you ever look up the ancient land of Israel, right, okay, you see the different tribes. Okay, we got land, but Levi don't have no land, all right, because the Levites, you know what I mean, its inheritance is the Most High's. Okay, if you ever look on back let me back of the Bible, you can Google it or whatever. If you see it, all the tribes, Gad, Reuben, Judah, Simeon, all of them got land, but you won't find Levi on there. Okay, right? So Aaron, he the priest, the Levites. Okay, so they didn't have no land. Okay, the Most High is their inheritance, right? Okay, and the Most High gave them the tithes, right? So let's get to it. Let's go to it. Let's go to Numbers 18 verse 20. Numbers 18 and verse 20. Okay. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thy inheritance among the children of Israel. Right? Verse 21. And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth mean 10% in Israel for an inheritance for their service, which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Right? So the Levi got 10% from the 11 tribes of Israel. Right? They got 10% from us. Okay, so the priests and the Levites, man, they was rich, they was wealthy, they was living good. Okay, they was in a suburban. Okay, so they had they were getting 10% of the spices, gold, and crops. You know what I'm saying? Man, they was living it up, man. Okay, right, the Levites, they was on a high level. Okay, let's drop down a verse. I want 26. Let's go to 26, okay? All right. Thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then ye shall offer up a heave offering of it for the Lord, even a tenth part of the tithe, right? So the Levites had different types of tithe. And another tithe is, okay, all right, for one, the 11 tribes, we gave Levi 10%, right? Gave them 10%. Now, the Levites got to dedicate 1% of everything to the Most High out of that 10% that the Levites get. Okay, and that's a heat offering. All right, right. So let's go to it. All right, let's go to it. Let's see how you pay your tithes. Okay, all right. Let's get to it. Let's go to Deuteronomy 14 and 22. Cause you pay your tithes 3 ways. Okay, let's get to it. All right. It's Deuteronomy 14 and 22. All right. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bring forth year by year. Right. So Yahweh said that the tithes come from the ground. Okay. What come from the ground? Seed, watermelon, corn, barley. Okay. Right. So the priests and the Levites, okay, and their family, they got to make sure they have enough food, okay, because we give them 10%. So the Levites got to give 1% out of that 10% to the Most High. So that food, that 1%, they got put up for the Most High. They can't touch it. So they got to make sure they got enough food. Because if they don't got enough food and they touch that food, okay, that's unlawful. All right. Now I know what you think. Like, is the Most High gonna eat that food? That 1% of that food they putting up? It's gonna explain itself. Stay with me. All right. Let's go to 23. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, Jerusalem, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, of thy oil, and the firstling of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. Right. So the Levites, they were drinking wine, man. They had oil for cooking. Okay. Right. So they had the tithes for like corn, or that corn, wine, and oil. Right. Okay. So right. Let's go to verse 24. Verse 24, and if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God had blessed thee. All right, so if I had a lot of, say for example, I'm using me as an example. If I had 150 cows, 700 watermelons, okay, all right, and a lot of herds, okay. So, and the brother part got 1 cow, about 5 watermelons, you know what I'm saying? Right, his 10% is not gonna be the same as mine, okay? Right, I got a lot of 10%, okay? Now, here come where the money comes in, okay? Right, pay attention, all right? Verse 25, then shall thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thy hand, and shall go into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. Verse 26, and thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusted after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desire, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household. Right? So basically what the Most High is saying is, all that flock, okay, all that flock you got, all that corn, watermelon, okay, just for example, I'm gonna use me as an example. I got 150 cows, I got 700 watermelons, and the brother got like you say, 1 cow, 1 watermelon, you know what I mean, 1 chicken. That's his 10%, but my 10% is a lot. So I'm scratching my head. How can I get all this down to Jerusalem? I got to make sure I get all them cows together. Okay. So basically what the Most High is saying is you take your 10% where I'm at, I sell it. Put the money in my hand. Now my trip is easy. I ain't got to do all that worrying about no cows and all that. And when I get to Jerusalem, I'll take that money and buy all that 10% back and give it to the Levites. That's what he's saying. Okay? That's only what you're using the money for, okay? Right? That's the only thing you're using the money for. Right? Okay? So, right, so you just give them back the 10%, okay? Now verse 27. And the Levites that is within thy gate, thou shalt not forsake him, for he had no part nor inheritance with thee. Meaning the Levites had the 10% increase, right? What the 11 tribes gave them, right? Gave them 10%. All right. Now the second tithe is, the 1% that the Levites got to give to the Most High out of that 10%, right? Now the third part of the 10% of the law is finna come now, right? I'm finna show you. Verse 28. At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring forth all the tithes of thy increase the same year, and shall lay it up within thy gate. Right? Verse 29. Here we go. Here's that third part of that 10%, okay? 29. And the Levites, because had no parts, no inheritance with thee, and the strangers, and the fatherless, and the widows, which are within thy gate, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied. The Lord, thy Yahweh, may bless thee in all the work of thy hand, which thou doest. That is beautiful. That the Most High set up a righteous commonness, right, for the strangers, the fatherless, the widows, okay, to feed our people every 3 years, okay, right. So that's why we pay the 10% to the Levi, and the Levi paid 1% of everything out of 10% to the Most High, that food, okay, to feed the strangers, the fatherless, the widows every three years, okay, to our nations that's in a lower state, okay, right. But anyway, write the precepts down, study them, okay, right. But anyway, this is another quick click call from Ahmathya. I want to give honor and glory to Yahweh, Shem Yahushua. Shalom.